Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to part two of going over this quiz. Okay, so here's the second question right here, right here, right here. So the first one, very similar to the one on the first question, you have to find the area of R, and you have to do it by hand because it says right here. So the answer is 18. So that's 3 points right there. One for the integrand, one for the antiderivative, and one for the and swap. So let's try and do this one, shall we? Here we go. Let's get to it. That was our work for the last one, so here's our picture for the new one. So here's what it gives us. Okay, so this line right here is y equals 2 radical x, and this is y equals 6 going across, y equals 6. Okay, so find the area of R, so that's top minus bottom. So that's going to be the integral between 0 and 9, because that's on the x, so 0 and 9 of the top, which is 6, minus the bottom, which is 2 radical x dx. So top minus bottom. So this is 1 point right here if you got this far right now. So this is the area equals. Next you have to do this by hand, so we have to find the antiderivative. The antiderivative of 6 is 6x. And this is 2 to the x to the 1/2. So you have to add 1 to the exponent for the antiderivative, so that's going to be 3 over 2. So it's minus 2x to the 3 over 2. And then you have to divide by 3 over 2. It's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, which is times 2 over 3, like that. And you're going to plug in 0 and 9. So let's just clean this up a little bit. So that's going to be 6x minus 2 times 2, so it's 4/3 x to the 3/2, and you're plugging in 0 and 9. Okay, so now I got that, so that's another point. So now we got to keep solving. So I'm plugging 9 first. So equals 6 times 9 minus 4/3 times 9 to the 3 over 2 minus, when you plug in 0, 0 minus, so 0 and to any power is 0, so this is just going to be 0. After that, so this is the only one we're simplifying. Okay, so that's 54 minus 4/3. Well, this is going to be the root. This is going to be the power whenever you have a fractional exponent. So I like to do the root first. So the square root of 9 is 3. And then square root of 9 is 3, and then 3 to the 3rd power is 27. So 9 to the 3/2 power is 27. Okay, so 27 divided by 3 is 9. So you divide this by 3, which is 9, divide that by 3, which is 1. So 4 times 9 is 36. 54 minus 36, and that's 18, and that's how we get the answer. There we go. So if you didn't get that, write that down, all of these steps right here as part of your corrections. Let's keep it going. We're doing good. So 2 more parts. Nice job. Okay. Find the volume when R is rotated around y equals 7. Okay, so let's get our picture back up here. So we have this is y equals 2 radical x, and this is y equals 6. So this point is 9, 6. And so we're revolving around y equals 7, which is up here. Y equals 7. So what do I have to do? I have to do a mirror image right here. So that's going to be and then like that. So now we're going to rotate. It's like it's got a donut hole in the middle. Stuff like that. Okay, so here's the original area right here. So when I draw my slicey slice, so this is going to come up from the bottom. So this is going to be your big radius, and right here is going to be your small radius. Okay, so this is the big radius from here to the bottom. So that looks like it's 7, and the bottom is 2 radical x. So that's 7 minus 2 radical x. And the hole we have to cut out is 7 minus this, which is 7 minus 6, y equals 6. Y equals 6 right there. So, and this is dx. So your volume is between 0 and 9, so all of these are going to be lined up from 0 to 9 on the x, of pi, big radius squared, 7 minus 2 radical x squared, minus, cut out the smaller circle, pi times 7 minus 6, which is 1 squared, or just pi, dx. Bam. There you go. Got it. So that was the answer to part B. Check to make sure you got it. Okay, last part. All right, now I want perpendicular to the y-axis is a rectangle of height 3 times the length of its base. And I want to find the volume of that solid. Okay, so draw the picture, y equals 2 radical x, and y equals 6. Okay, so here is the area, and we have a perpendicular to the y-axis. That means it's right here. Perpendicular to the y-axis like this. And so we have a rectangle coming up, all these infinite amount of rectangles. So let's draw a little slicey slice. Okay, so this is going to be d, not dx, but dy. We're in terms of y. And so top minus bottom, when I look at it, you can flip it this way. This is going to be the top here, and the bottom is just going to be here. So this is going to be the inverse of this minus 0. So we got to find the inverse now. Okay, so the inverse of y equals 2 radical x. So you can square both sides because I'm solving for x. So it's y squared equals 2 squared, which is 4, radical x squared, which is x. Okay, now I divide by 4, and I have my inverse. Y squared divided by 4 equals x. There you go. Okay, so now that is this part right here, which is y squared over 4 equals x. And so this is not times 3, is 3 times the length of the base. So it's 3 times this, actually, whatever this is. So it's 3 times, y squared over 4. All right, so 3 times y squared over 4, and then y squared over 4. So now the full volume is going to be the integral between, now we're going this way, so it's 0 and 6, because we're going to have all of these rectangles lined up between 0 and 6 on the y, of length times width times height. So it's 3 times this squared. This squared, because it's this times this times this. So that's going to be y squared over 4 squared dy. Oh, done. There you go. And then they simplify a little bit in the answer, like this. Yeah, they simplify it a little bit, but essentially they have the same thing. If you wrote down what I wrote down, you're cool. So that was 2 points for the integrand and 1 point for the answer. And also for part B was 2 points for the integrand and 1 point for the limits of the constant. The constant is pi, so if you have pi in there, you're good. Okay? Now, last step. So now you have both of them. So now this is how your correction is going to look. You know how they're going to look. So here's an example I wrote for another class. So this is what you're going to do. So you're going to write the question, bam. Then you're going to have all the work. So if this is the work, write down all the work, and then you're going to have an example of, this is an example of what to do if you didn't get it right. Explain what you did wrong. I forgot that when the two secants intersect, the angle created is 1/2 big arc minus small arc. So something that is using the vocabulary and making sure that you have a clear explanation of what you did wrong and a clear understanding. This is going to be a separate grade as opposed to your quiz, so make sure it looks good when you upload it and make sure I can read it. Nice job, everybody. Take care.